how can we love ourselves in this situation? What can we do as citizens of wherever we live and for our fellow men and for the good of ourselves? What can we do to help definitely flatten this curve in any form or fashion? Any advice, any guidelines? We would really love to hear from you.
Sure. And the biggest advice, and what the advice that people have been saying throughout the world, is to stay at home. Now, staying at home means you stay home. Yes, you could come outdoors and stay outdoors, but don't go next to your neighbor's house or anything like that. But staying in your home, eating healthy, exercising, doing some mental games or things to keep your mind active, definitely reaching out to friends and family through telephone or video conference or video chatting, do those things. But staying home is necessary. Now, there are times when you have to leave. So if you're an essential worker, you have to leave or you want to avoid any sort of contact that you can. But sometimes, even if you can stay home, you may have to leave to go to groceries. Decide.
Can I just stop you there? So
Sure.
you may have to leave. So can you just list some things that you think that you would recommend that what we should leave the house for and only should really leave the house for?
Sure. Groceries I was mentioning. So if you want to go for groceries, you should go for a grocery run, maybe one in 7 days or 1 in 10 days or something like that. And you make do over the next 7 to 10 days. If you don't have one item, just make do.
So when you say you should go to a grocery run, do you mean the family should go to a grocery run? You alone should go to the grocery run? How should this work?
Just one person go to the grocery and go to one grocery. It doesn't mean you have to go to buy some items in one grocery and you like another items in another grocery and so forth. This just subjects you to more risk.
Okay, so one grocery, we should go to one grocery. Where else should we be going?
And if you need to go to a pharmacy, then do that because you need medications and you want to take care of your health. So go to a pharmacy, go to a grocery. And if there's something wrong in your house that you need to get fixed, then by all means go get it fixed if it's absolutely necessary for it to be fixed.
Do you hear that, guys? Absolutely necessary. Should we start up new projects at this point?
Don't do any DIY projects.
Just to add to that, I was thinking that this is a very good time to be self-sufficient, plant a tree, get gardening, so that way you could probably have your own little vegetables going, reasons not to get out of the house. What do you think about that, Dr. Mohammed?
Yeah, definitely. And you don't even have to have seeds. Everybody has seeds in your home. Everybody has fruits in their home that they could start. Everybody has small little cut-ins, small little like celery stalks that you can use and grow something.
You can have some water there, Dr. Mohammed. I'm seeing getting a horse. Now, another thing, I see a lot of people... some people are conducting business as usual. In the sake of, I would say, even fears are going about. Some people are being crippled with fear. Some people are, being crippled with fear, and some people continue to go out to work for an income, and I would say their services to the nation is not really needed. For example, if I go out to people's home to do tutoring right now, I don't see that as important. So I have stopped that. What do you think about that, and how have you yourself changed your way of life to ensure that you are flattening the curve, Dr. Mohammed?
So as a neurosurgeon, I see patients in dire emergencies and I continue seeing patients in dire emergencies, but I've stopped all my elective surgeries. Patients who can wait for several months, I have them waiting for several months. And likewise, my clinics. I've stopped all clinics on a face-to-face basis, and I am doing some video conferencing and telemedicine for people who absolutely need it.
So definitely you think people should try as best to work online, people should use the video conferencing, but so do you think that people should risk their lives to conduct businesses that are not, I would say, just for the sake of income?
So
at this point,
yes,
what is your view on this?
I've seen people who saying that, well, I still need to make an income, and I understand that, but the government most governments have instituted some policies, and banks have instituted some policies in terms of being able to pay your bills, and you should hang on to those policies. While if you go outside to try and generate some income, you run the risk of subjecting yourself and your family to disease that can have devastating effects, and you should not do that. If you stay at home, if everybody were to stay at home for 2 weeks, then the virus would stop moving, because the virus doesn't move. It's people move and take the virus with them. So if everybody were to stay home for 2 weeks, then the quarantine will probably end at that point, potentially. But people need to stay home so that the virus does not spread. That's what we need to do. So running a business to try and see if you could recoup some money, because you think that it's not going, you think that you're going to have some payments to make and you're not able to make those payments, I think is unreal, and you should stay home as best as you can. There are some businesses that are deemed essential by the government or by people higher up in the government hierarchy, and whatever they decide, I'm happy with. Like I'm not going to delve into that, but those that are essential can stay open. But if you're not essential, then you should close. You should stay home.
Also, I have been hearing from people, some elderly people, saying that, you know, they have lived their lives and they continue to go about their business as usual. And also some younger people have been diving. I don't want to say younger. I have read that alcohol sales have been rising, if that's the correct English there, sorry. And I've also heard that, you know, there are still a lot of alcohol clearly is being consumed at this time. And what is your view on that? That older people as well are saying they have lived their lives. Do you think that the average person really understands the severity of this situation?
So, a couple of questions. One, regard to the elderly saying, well, I've lived my life. Yes, you may have considered to yourself that you've lived your life, but you could still transmit this disease.
You can still try, I'm sorry?
The elderly person can still transmit this
disease. Definitely.
To a younger person. So the elderly person who says, you know what, I've lived my life, I'm still going to continue business as usual, is doing their neighbor a disservice, is doing the community a disservice. So you should stay home.
Nice.
Even if you're happy to die because you've lived your life, no, you're going to affect someone else, someone who wants to live. So the best thing you can do is stay home. Alcohol consumption has gone up indeed because people are home. So some people would, you know, I'm home every day, I don't have to go to work, so then I could drink something any night. Not a problem. The problem, however, with that...
Increase alcohol consumption.
Increase alcohol consumption can have an effect on your health. Can have an effect on
would it
depression
compromise?
even.
Would it compromise your immunity?
It can potentially compromise your immunity, definitely.
And I love what you said there. Another crucial point, it can lead to depression as well. It's a depressant.
Yes.
Alcohol is a depressant, is it?
It can. For some people, it makes them happy, but overall, it makes you depressed. Definitely.
Okay, so I hope that you are hearing these guys. Make sure and find ways to uplift yourself mentally and emotionally. It is very, very important. And as we are saying here, whether you are old, whether you're young, no matter who you are, we are all responsible. And if you don't love yourself, this is one time to start. And also, this is one time where this beautiful saying, love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. I ask you, we plead, Safraz and I here today, doing this video, I asked him especially to shed some light in it. And as you can see, the mortality rate is far higher than the common cold. Young and elderly are being subjected. We have death among them. We have the power in our hands. And also, the doctors and the nurses and the frontline workers and the janitors and the grocery workers and all those, we say thank you. And it is unfair for those of us who are home and we have the comfort of our food and our family members and those who are putting their lives on the line and we not to do our part. And as we end here also, I would want to ask Dr. Mohammed, even though he is in neurosurgery and I know he's not working in the emergency unit, would you say you are also susceptible to COVID-19 when you go to the hospital, Dr. Mohammed?
Definitely. Anybody who enters the hospital is subjected to it because the hospital is the front line of where COVID-19 exists. But now we know that it's being transmitted from community spread. So maybe the hospital is no longer the front line. Maybe it's everywhere as a front line right now. But yes, going to hospital, I'm subjected to getting COVID-19 from one of my patients or one of my co-workers or one of my colleagues. Definitely is a possibility. So while I'm not in the emergency room seeing the patients up front, many of my patients need an operation. And during the intubation process where they're being put to sleep, of course, myself and doctors and other doctors and healthcare workers within the operating room are subjected to this aerosolized or droplet infection. And we take every precaution possible, but definitely people can get sick.
As you can see, healthcare needs to continue, not only for COVID-19, but for so much different things. For example, Dr. Mohammed sees tumor patients, spine patients, etc. But we must realize that healthcare continues and so many people are putting their lives on the line. And if we who have the power are not doing what we should and can follow these simple guidelines, I feel very, very, very saddened. And it's with a heavy heart I ask everyone who's watching this video on behalf of Dr. Mohammed and I to help your fellow men, yourself, your country, and let us please flatten the curve. It is very, very important. And I want to say recently on my personal note that I went to sleep recently one night thinking of Safra's being subjected to COVID-19. And it should be all of us. If we care for our loved ones, even if we care for nobody else, which is a sad situation to begin with, and I don't want to go there, but if we care for our loved ones and ourselves, we will work hard to flatten the curve. Social distances. What else, Safra? Social distancing. And as you said, staying at home. Social distancing, keeping is it 3 feet apart or 6 feet apart? And don't feel bad. Please, when you are walking outside, if you are walking along the pavement and somebody's there, walk across the road, there's nothing to feel bad. We are actually being the hero. If we walk across the road, if we stay away, we can also be a hero acting from home. So again, love and light from Anita. Thank you again, Dr. Mohammed, for joining us and shedding light on this situation. And I'm grateful. And I ask you again personally also to say a special prayer, a special thank you to all those frontline workers. I think Safra shared with me that he said to, if you have any friend or family who's working on the front line, to please send a thank you note or to call them up. And please say a special prayer for all those. But remember, we have the power. We can flatten the curve for this COVID-19. Love and light all the way from Ottawa. Have a wonderful evening. And we ask you humbly, spread this video and help us flatten the curve. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.